fun. You know, it's a little different than a year ago where we had a more veteran squad, a lot of younger guys, like you're saying, that haven't taken as many reps. But there's a lot of growth, a lot of competition, and I'm excited in the direction we're headed, but there's still a lot of work to do.
Daryl, how much room is there for leadership to kind of emerge at that position, center or not, just your group?
Yeah, I think there's a lot, and when you graduate, guys like Mike Ford, Bryce Cable do, it's always, you know, you talk about the room is always going to be different in a year. And the exciting part is watching young men like Kobe Baines, Bryce Foster, even a young Calvin Clements that are stepping up to take that leadership role. They understand it, they learned it from great leaders in front of them. And I think at the end of the day, I think it's super important for them to continue to push this thing forward like we are doing as coaches.
Do they have different leadership styles, those three especially that you just mentioned?
I do think so. I think everybody has a little different style. At the end of the day, we talked about leadership being a skill. It's not necessarily being you're born with it or not. It's something that you continue to promote. I would say as a young man, my leadership qualities grew as I got older, and my style is probably a little different than other people, different than other coaches. And I think all of them lead in their own types of way, but I think we're getting what we need out of all of them.
How would you describe Calvin's leadership style?
Right now, he is learning he works in small groups. So he does a great job taking guys in one-on-one and then kind of getting them through the ropes. No different than, honestly, Bryce Cable did with him a year ago. And trying to teach them on top of what is already being taught. And I think that's his charge right now in terms of his leadership role, is working in smaller groups and smaller cliques to make sure everybody's moving in the right direction.
When last season ended, did you or any of your coaches have conversations with those three guys in particular about, hey, this is going to fall on you, or is it kind of been a natural thing that's happened?
I think a little bit of both. You know, I think it's the one thing as a coach, just running and going through a program and a unit, is always saying best teams are led by players, right? And having the ability to have those forward conversations with Bryce, Kobe, not as much Calvin, to be honest with you, because they were the older two, making sure, now listen, those guys are out of the room, you guys have to start leading the charge. We had great conversations in that respect. Calvin's been a pleasant surprise for us at the end of the day, and that's really exciting for us.
Lance talked a bit about kind of load managing Bryce Foster a little bit because of track. What's that experience been like from your perspective?
He's in track? I didn't know that. No, I'm just joking. It's been good. It's been different for us, but at the end of the day, it's exciting for him because he is a high-level thrower now. And to have him have the opportunity to reach certain goals that he can get to in track is awesome. Managing him and him being in a different role. Some of you guys that have been out to practice, some days he's got more load, other days he has less. The days he has less, what's been really exciting is the leadership piece. He's working behind the scenes, working with our other centers, making sure they're getting the calls, preparing, they'll ask him questions. But today was a high load day for him, and it was good to have him back and get him moving.
And then just on that note, sorry, having a full off season of Bryce, was having him coming late in the summer, what kind of possibilities are there for him now that you have him for a longer stretch?
You know, I'm excited about all of them for him. You know, in terms of his size, power, speed, intelligence, now that he's been within our system for a year, we've had him for a long time. I'm excited about his last college season and being a part of it. I think there's a lot of things he wants to achieve, and I think what the best part of it is he wants to achieve team goals first, and I'm excited to see what we can do with him.
You talked about Bryce working with the other guys. Who are some of the guys working at center behind him?
Sure, we can't have enough guys snap the ball right now, right? So we have young men like Amir Herrig, Tyler Mercer, who is new to our program, Kale Farkas, a lot of centers. He's doing a great job mentoring them, getting them prepared. Obviously, Tyler Mercer, you guys will probably ask, is newer to our program. So it's always nice to have a guy that's been through it with us for a year, kind of lean on him and ask him questions that he may have from play to play.
You mentioned the younger guys earlier. Have you had to kind of coach them differently this year compared to last year because of it being an older group last year?
Yeah, that's a great question, and there's a lot of truth to that. You know, when a year ago we had 8 guys that ended up leaving, you know, they've been through the fire a little bit. A lot of it was talk, teach, and move it. This year, with a lot of younger guys in the room, we gotta do a great job of being that spark plug with them and being that energy for them, which has been really good this spring because there's a lot of players getting a lot of reps. It's only gonna help us grow in the future. But there is a change of pace, even with coaching, making sure we establish a sense of standard in our room. And I think I love what Coach Agpalsa said today. We got to have, we have to have firm, concrete standards every day to be the best team we can be headed in the fall. And really it's up to our coaching staff to make sure those standards don't slip.
With so many new guys, I know you guys like to cross-train people at tackle, guard, kind of move them around and everything, but with them learning the system, how do you weigh that out or figure out that process?
That's a great question. So with a younger group right now, the most important thing I believe as coaches we have to do a great job of is get them to feel comfortable in their skin somewhere. If you watch practice, we're probably not moving people as much as we have in the past. The people that we are cross-training, there's a lot of confidence from the coaching aspect, knowing that they know their assignments and they know their jobs. But at the end of the day, with the younger group, we try to keep them at home. Once they feel comfortable where they're at, then the cross-training happens, which obviously leads to your other question, which was that's why we were coaching a little different this year.
With Tavake and Gorska having the finger injury, obviously you've had Nolan for a little while, but big spring for him with all the competition and everything. How do you kind of gauge those guys and try and build your offensive line with Tavake having the injury early? I know he was back in practice today, and then Nolan being out.
Yeah, so we had Nolan really for the first 5 practices.
Yep.
He was doing great. He did a lot of great things and is showing us that we can count on him on his last season. He's down right now, but we'll get him back. Tavake's exciting because he's another new piece to our offensive line that now we're finally seeing what he has the ability to do, and he's the position that we want to say where is he going to be at the end of the day for us. But today was a non-padded day really for him. We did a lot of footwork drills, but as we finish through the last 3 weeks of the spring, we're really going to find out what he can do for our team.
Is there anybody that has been in the program maybe for a year, young guy, whatever, that's kind of exciting you at this point?
I think there's a lot of young guys taking steps in our program. There's a lot of guys working behind the scenes, doing everything they can. You talk about Amir Herrig, we got a year ago. He's taking a lot of reps at center and guard for us. Kenny Anene is working really hard. Carter Lebruski is working really hard. Drayton Grimes is working really hard. You ask me a question, I'm always going to leave somebody out, unfortunately. But collectively, as a group, you talk about a guy that's been here, honestly, for a long time that's making headways, is James Livingston. He's doing a great job for us, too. So that's the exciting part always in this room is as people leave, it's always fun to see who's taking the next step. And there's a lot of people that have tried and worked really hard to get that done.
Daryl, with Nolan out, who's kind of seeing some of those reps for you at right tackle?
Sure. Jack Tanner seeing it. He's our new guy, our new transfer in. He's been really impressive in terms of his knowledge. It's fun because a lot of people will ask the question. We took younger offensive linemen, and what's super interesting about that, it's true, but we also added 2,000 live snaps to the offensive line room of live game reps. And I think that's like doubled our room. So at the end of the day, what's really fun for us is it's really interesting to see a kid like Tyler Mercer, Jack Tanner. They have over 600 reps of game experience coming in, but they're younger. That's great for us, especially in the offensive line room. So Jack Tanner is one of those. Drayton Grimes is another one. Carter Lebruski is another one. And what's really fun is we have a lot of young players that are getting a lot of reps right now to help make us better in the fall.
You mentioned Drayton Grimes. He moved into your position group. What attributes, I guess, made him a good fit for sliding into the O-line?
He's a really good athlete. He has good length, good speed, and are really athletic, can bend and can move. It's just new to him. And it's fun though. He's getting a lot of reps right now, and that's all he can ask for because, repetition is the mother of all learning and experience is the father, right? So he's getting a little bit of both right now. And what's really fun for him is he grows and he learns something new every day, being in a new position group. We felt like he had the ability to get that done, and he's still showing that ability every day.
Going back to the 3 additions, at least the guys that were true freshmen last year, is that a conscious decision you made to look for players like that had experience but maybe have a redshirt season that they can use? Like, was that a conscious decision you guys made?
Yeah, I think for me personally, it helps. The one thing in today's ever evolving college football, right? The one thing in the offensive line room, and this is totally an opinion of mine, is you don't want it to be you don't want to change. You don't want to change things over year to year to year to year. Just having a senior, it's hard to develop continuity in our room doing that. So the blessing in disguise is you take a guy that's played and started a season or 8 games and has game experience, and you can bring them in. They've been in the fire, yet they have multiple years left to help us win. That's going to make us better, I think, in the long haul at the end of the day. So there was some strategy to it, yes.
Deshaun Hanika talked a little bit about during his injury rehab, spending some time working with you, talking offensive line. first of all, have you had a tight end do that with you before? And second of all, what are some of the things you guys were really focusing on?
Great question. We have Deshaun's special. He is. It's important for him to do well this season. He wants the team to do well. Building a bond and a bridge with him is super important. And I think he's a special young man and a special player. I'm really excited to see what he's going to do this season. But he went out of his way from December on to spend a lot of time with us, and I think it's going to pay dividends for him.
Kobe's a pretty fiery guy. How can that be contagious, kind of for the rest of the offensive line?
Yeah, his energy is unrelenting in a good way. And when you have several younger players just kind of figuring it out and learning, they get to use him as an example on what it should look like and how the type of energy and speed you have to play with to be successful at times. So it's been really fun, and we talk about leadership styles, right? Calvin is a one-on-one. Kobe's always going to be by example in terms of showing people what it needs to look like. And it's fun because as he gets better, he's pulling more people along with him in that respect.
Was he a guy that got better over the course of last year? It felt like he was maybe playing at a higher level at the end of the last year from where he was at the start.
100%. 100%. He took a huge step from game 1 all the way up to game 12, and the best part of what has happened since, he's taken another huge step from the end of the season to the beginning of the spring. And the one thing we'll continually talk about with him is there's another step he's going to take in the summer, and then one more before we get to the season.
Hey, with Nolan and that progress in those first 5 before the injury, how common is it for you, or in your experience, to see guys late in their careers like that just really grab onto it, that urgency of this is it, the kind of final run, and just really give it all you got in the final run to make it yourself stand out and earn a spot or whatever it is?
It's more common than you think.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest piece is when you're sitting behind a guy waiting your turn to get ready to go. It's always that guy graduated, it's my turn. And then that sense of urgency picks up. I don't know if that's offensive, I think that's everybody. What's interesting and what we continually tell people is this: most people get their first opportunity to play because something happens to the guy in front of them. Mm-hmm. And that's why we're always about be where your feet are at. And one thing we talk about in our line a lot is work while you wait. While you're waiting your turn to be the guy, you better continue to work, because you never know when your time will come. And we want to make sure you're prepared and we can count on you when your time comes, because sometimes you only get one shot. Somebody goes down, we're going to put you in, that's your chance. Mm-hmm. So I think it happens more often where it's my turn, I got to be ready to go. And I will say from last spring, and you guys were here with us last spring, from last spring to this spring, Calvin comes a different player. He really is, and that's exciting for our program. It's how much can our next guys take those steps that Calvin's taking too, that we'll find out how good we can be.
What is the next step for Calvin if you're looking at kind of where he's going?
I think at the end of the day, when you're talking about guys that you trust, is their ability to, I guess the word is to be consistent. Stack plays, we talk about doing our job, and if you do your job on one play, stack it to another play. You can stack it for a play, stack it for a series. You can do a series, get to a half, get to a quarter, to a half, to a game. That makes sense, that mantra, being more process oriented. For Calvin Clemens to take the next step in our program really comes down to how many plays can he stack in a row? How many days can he stack in a row? When he becomes highly consistent, that's when he becomes a great player.
Were you impressed and or surprised by how well Bryce Cable-Dew tested at the Big 12 Pro Day last week?
I told everybody, no one listened to me. No, I'm telling you. Every scout asked me that question, and I'm being completely transparent. I said, somebody's going to get a diamond in the rough, because that kid is an ultra athlete, and unfortunately, through bad coaching, he should be playing guard. But we need him to play tackle. And, I'm happy for that young man. Actually, he was here yesterday. Spent a lot of time. It's fun now being here for a year, because you have guys like Logan Brown come back. We spent a lot of time together. Bryce Cable-Dew was in my office yesterday. Watching them succeed and get their opportunity, that's what it's all about, right? Is seeing these young men grow up and become what they want to do and do what they want to do. So I'm not surprised. I'm happy for him. But there was a lot of work that went into it. And like I told all the scouts, somebody's going to get somebody and be really excited about him. And I don't think he's a secret anymore. No, he's not that he posts some of those times. So
if Calvin takes the next step that you want him to take, where do you see him playing next season?
where do I see him playing? What do you mean by that?
Like what position?
I still think he's left tackle. Yeah, he's a tackle all day. And he's our guy at left tackle. Now, would I flip him? No, I don't think so. Like, what I love about Calvin is you lock him in at left tackle this year, and he's a tackle till the day he's done playing college football. And I think that's where it best fits and it best suits him, I think, at the end of the day.
Anything else for Coach Agpalsa?